Hello, I'm Colleen Cook from the Renaissance Theater, and I am here today with our third candidate for Music Director of the Mansfield Symphony, Douglas Droste. Douglas, welcome.
Hi, Colleen. Thank you. Very glad to be here.
We're so glad you're here.
Thank you.
So we're going to just start the way we started every one of these, and
Sure.
We're just going to ask you to tell us your 5-minute life story.
Okay, feel free to cut me off. I am an Ohio boy. I grew up in Columbus and attended the Columbus City Schools, and also attended The Ohio State University for my undergraduate degree. I majored in music education. I was a violin major and also played trumpet, so played in the symphony orchestra, but played in all the bands as well, jazz band, concert band, the Ohio State Marching Band. So I'm a diehard Buckeye fan. And after my undergraduate degree, I taught public school for 2 years at Liberty Union, which is in Baltimore, Ohio. And then after my public school teaching career, I did some graduate work in orchestral conducting in Texas, and then started a series of collegiate orchestral conducting positions. My first was in Austin Peay State University in Clarksville, Tennessee, where they all yell, "Let's go P" at their games. It's great. And then after that, I taught at Oklahoma State University for 9 years, and now I am currently the Director of Orchestras at Ball State University and conductor of the Mansfield Symphony Orchestra. Both my parents are music educators, retired music educators, and my sister is as well. And my aunt, whom I just saw this weekend as well, is also a retired music educator. So music is in our family, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
That makes sense. How about as far as like family? Are you married? Do you have children? Are you?
I am married. Amanda, we met in Texas. Actually, we have the most romantic story. We met in the opera. I was conducting, she was singing, and I wish it was, so romantic that we connected on stage, but we got to know each other through the opera, and we got married shortly after graduate school. We have 2 kids. Maddie is our 9-year-old daughter. She plays violin and sings, and Parker is our 6-year-old son, and he's very active and very musical as well. Great
Awesome.
kids.
That's fantastic. So can you tell us about a time you've been involved with music? It sounds like your whole life.
Yes.
Can you tell us a story about something that went horribly wrong on stage? And
Wrong.
What happened, how you dealt with it?
The one thing I can think about was my very first job out of college. As I said, was at Liberty Union in Baltimore. And it was my first concert ever. And I was addressing the audience, and of course it's in Baltimore, Ohio, and I called them Baltimoreans.
Oh no.
That is my one. But I made up for it. I tried to smooth it over. But
How long after that did you work there?
I stayed on. That was the first concert. I was there for a few more years. That was not the end of my career, but that's one that rings a bell.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure the response wasn't exactly what you were looking for.
It was a little quiet, and then I had to kind of smooth it over. But.
So with parents who are so musical and music educators, when did you fall in love with music? I think sometimes we see people go the opposite direction of their family.
I kind of consider myself brainwashed since birth. That's kind of my phrase. I started Suzuki violin when I was in kindergarten. And then when I got to elementary school, I started on trumpet and just played in all the ensembles all the way through. My dad is a former director of the Ohio State Marching Band. He was on faculty at Ohio State for over 25 years. So I was really ingrained in that since my birth. My mom is a choir director. She taught in the public schools for about that 25 years, and it was a church choir director as well. So I kind of didn't know anything else. I'm a big sports fan, and once I figured out that was not going to be my future, which was pretty early on, I knew that music was going to be somewhere in my future.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. So what's you talk about playing trumpet and violin. What's your favorite section, or what's your favorite instrument?
In the orchestra, I love the string section. I love the sound of the strings. I'm a violinist, so my ear tends to go to that. I tend to pick on the violins more during my rehearsals because I know what I would be doing and I know the sound that I'm looking for. But I'm an equal opportunity rehearser, though. I pick on everyone. But the brass, obviously I like to have a strong brass sound, but the string sound's really important in the orchestra because that's what makes it so unique. Otherwise, it's just a band.
Right. No, that's true. That's true. So you talked just a little bit about the sort of string sound that you're going for.
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what that?
Big, warm, rich, full, really, and great violin section with great fingers that can play articulate passages cleanly.
So one of the challenges that so many symphonies are facing just nationwide, worldwide. It's just attracting a younger audience and adapting to be even more relevant in the 21st century.
Sure.
What are your thoughts about that? How would you work with our symphony to help us to adapt and grow our audience?
Sure. The key is staying relevant in the community. And as much as we would like, gone are the days where you could just present concerts and you'll sell out packed houses. You need to make the community know that you are invested in them. And different programs throughout. We've done this in Muncie. In fact, there's a lot of parallels between Muncie and Mansfield. Blue-collar towns, working people. There's a lot of parallels in the clientele that we need to try to attract. So in Muncie, we've done a lot of programs of reaching out, a few more free community concerts, outdoor concerts. We started a Together in Music where we performed a Martin Luther King concert on our south side of town, which is our underserved part of town. A toddler pops concert, which we started. We have a great grant to do that. So things such as that branches out, it's just besides doing concerts in our concert hall. We will still attract a faithful audience. We're very appreciative of that. But we've realized that we need to branch out more. I spoke with the Muncie Young Professionals. I have a relationship with them. I've spoken to every community civic group, Rotary, everything in the city to let them know what we're doing and to try to attract them to come to our concerts. And it's vice versa. What can we do for you? Is there anything that the orchestra and the symphony can help you with in your programs?
So you're seeing results in Muncie?
We are. It's a process, though. It's not an overnight fix, as you know. But it's good. We have seen progress. This is my 4th season in Muncie, and definitely the community buzz. And I'm active in the community as well. My family and I we live there. We joined a church as soon as we moved to town. We joined the YMCA. We joined the Children's Museum. I mean, we're active and we're around. So people see us there, and kind of as the face of the orchestra, they know to identify that we are active and participating in the town.
That's great. That's really great. So I think we can assume a little bit from what you've said, why Mansfield? You know, you're an Ohio boy already, and,
Yes.
and this is a similar kind of challenge to what you're facing there.
It really is. The job is very appealing. I'm very interested. And because there are many similarities to Muncie, I think I have a good idea of maybe some new initiatives and programs we could do. But yes, I am an Ohio guy, and coming back to my home state, and even Northeast Ohio. My dad was raised in Cleveland, so I'm up there often, and I'm a big Indians fan, Cavaliers fan. I'm glad they won.
It's a good time to be one of those.
That was great. It was great. I grew up a
year.
Browns fan, but that's been a little sad the last couple of years.
Okay.
So I'm an Ohio guy, and Northeast Ohio is where my dad's family is. In fact, they'll all be at the concert in May.
That's great.
So
you're already increasing ticket sales.
I am. Yes, we have a few more that are coming in. Yeah.
That's terrific. That's really terrific. So when you're not conducting a symphony or teaching teaching a college course, what do you do for fun?
Fun. Since our kids are pretty active, they're really wrapped around their activities and driving them to various lessons and sports activities.
Right.
I am a sports fan, as I said, so if the Buckeyes are on, I'll definitely be watching. I definitely have time blocked out on Saturdays where the kids and wife are not to bother. My college buddies and I have a tradition of going on bowl trips, so yeah, every year. So I've been to all the national championship games. I went to the one a couple of years ago, and the one back in 2002. So we have a tradition of doing that. So sports are kind of big on that, but because my conducting schedule has increased, it's really just preparing for the next gig.
Right. Yeah. So what kind of music do you listen to just in your car driving around? Are you prepping for the next gig, or are you listening to other sorts of things, or no music at all?
A lot of Disney Channel on the
right.
XM.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Disney. Prepping for the next gig, what can I say? It's a lot of score study time. I'll reference recordings as needed, but it's mostly just facing the score and learning and figuring out how to conduct and teach. I'm an educator, so I need to predict on how to effectively teach standard repertoire to collegiate students, or when I'm guest conducting high school kids at an all-state orchestra.
Sure.
or something like that.
So I'm going to go off our list a little bit, but I'm curious.
Feel free. That's fine.
So what are the lessons you feel like you've learned from working with those students, those high school and college students, And how are you applying them into like these bigger symphonies?
Sure. Professionals still need to be rehearsed, and I have learned how to rehearse effectively and concisely rehearse an orchestra with my educational orchestras. I really like to think my career, and I'm not, obviously it's an interview on me, I'm not trying to talk too much, but I am talking about myself. Has started, I graduated music education, got my first public school job. That led to my first collegiate job, to a little larger collegiate job, to a bigger collegiate job, into my first professional job. So my career is going, but it's really been firmly rooted in music education. And when I have students say, well, I want to be a conductor, Mr. Droste, what do I need to do? I say, major in music education, learn how to not only play all the instruments, but learn how to teach them effectively. And then you can grow from there. I think it's, I don't like to talk about other conductors, but you can tell the other conductors who don't necessarily know, who are maybe look great with the baton, but maybe not know how to teach or run a rehearsal. And I feel pretty strongly about my music ed background that will help me in the professional world.
Let's say in a world where you weren't raised by a music education family and poured down that music education slide early on, what would you be doing?
I ask myself that every time I have a bad day. I ask that too. Just going back to the sports, I'd probably be doing something in sports or sports management, or going to work for the Indians or something. I don't know. Yeah. I really don't know. I really knew early on that music was going to be in my career path.
So can you tell us about the best book you've read recently, or maybe your favorite book of all time, and why?
I am a poor reader. I have a stack of books that sit on my desk. My parents like to give me books for my birthday and holiday. They don't get read. I am score studying. Those are my books. And in the summertime, I'll maybe get a mystery novel from the library when I take my kids to the library, and I'll finish that in a day or two. And then after that, I'm ready for the next gig. And it's so sense. Unfortunately, that's a very poor answer.
No, that's okay.
I can't remember the last book I read, but I do read the paper often, and I do read my trade magazines and try to stay up to date with those. But
how about like a movie or TV show that you've enjoyed recently?
Most Disney movies we've gone to see. The Star Wars last movie was very good. We enjoyed that. I'm in Mansfield. I have to say The Shawshank Redemption. That's
right, yeah,
the one
best movie that's ever been made.
Where I'm flipping channels and it comes on, and I have to keep it there until the end.
It is a great movie.
And you're going to take me by
I am. I'm going to take you over there after
good.
this.
I want to go on the tour before I leave town.
Yeah, it's a cool space. It really is. Yeah. So what is it that you love about Mansfield? What is your hope if you get this position? What are you looking forward to doing as a part of that position at Mansfield?
Sure, that's a great question. As I said a little earlier, it's very similar to what we've done in Muncie, and I feel very confident about what we've done growing the orchestra in Muncie. So Mansfield, in my phone interview, when I described what I was going through, they said, well, that sounds like Mansfield. So I'm very interested in growing arts in a Rust Belt, blue-collar city, and letting people know that there are great programs that will make them enjoy life more. And I think the orchestra does that. And whether it's through a Pops concert, whether it's through a free outdoor concert or a schools concert, we really, orchestras need to be expanding and staying relevant because I think the art form is that important.
Terrific. Well, what can we look forward to in May?
May's program is very eclectic. The first piece is called Mothership. It's by Mason Bates. And before everyone gets kind of nervous, a lot of classical movements and concertos were based upon dance forms, Baroque-style dance forms, stylized dance forms. This one is based after hip-hop and by kind of has an electronic beat to it. So the orchestra will perform. There'll be 2 speakers within the orchestra, and there will be a techno beat that happens throughout the piece.
Wow.
And so it's multimedia. It was performed by Michael Tilson Thomas and the Internet Symphony. And Mason Bates is actually a DJ / composer. So he's not just about electronic, but he's the acoustic and the mix between the two. So we'll start the program with that, and then the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto with our concertmaster. And then on the second half will be the Moldau, which is a very classic work that everyone should recognize. and then we'll finish the concert with a bang with the Pines of Rome.
Right.
And what I'm really excited about is that for the offstage brass, we have confirmed the use of the Dublin Silver Band, which is a large brass band. And so when I mean we're going to end with a bang, it's really going to be with a bang.
That's exciting. That's really exciting. Well, Doug, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to our concert in May.
I can't wait to come back.
We're so excited too, and we look forward to seeing more of you.
Thank you, Colleen.